Amon-Ra St. Brown last year about this time, right? Remember when he got snubbed and he was pissed? And all of a sudden, before the Vikings game, this is how things want to go down. But as it relates to the Pro Bowl voting, but in matters that I think matter a little bit more than that, you're talking about a little bit of conversation and narrative that's coming up now about Defensive Player of the Year and his positioning there. You talk about 9 interceptions in 16 games on the season. He has an opportunity to add more to that, and that's already the most interceptions for a Detroit Lion in over 40-plus seasons. Whew. 40-plus seasons. We've seen him go out there and effectively, single-handedly, take away great drives by opposing teams and great quarterbacks. So Kerby Joseph is a guy to me, and the guy we're going to talk about next as well, in Jared Goff. These guys, in my opinion, are still underrated. Still underrated.
Well, I think the very definition of being underrated is Kerby Joseph reportedly being left off of the Pro Bowl roster. And
it's crazy.
Kool-aid, I like where you're going with that. It's going to motivate. Like, it's only going to create even more of a monster, but it's so egregious that doesn't even make me feel better right now. It's Kerby Joseph is undisputedly the best safety in football this year. There's not even really a debate right now. He leads the entire, like, he has everything that you want from a safety. He's got it.
PFF says it. I'll say it for you.
Thank you.
I'll say it for you. PFF says it. You're looking all across the metrics. People know. And right now, you listen to some of these other safeties and cornerbacks who are talking throughout the year, and you just don't hear them anymore. But you see Kerby Joseph, he's still going out there and try. I loved what he did after beating the 49ers because we bring it up on our show. Sometimes I'm wondering, like, do we bring this up? Should I mention this? And it's like when you see the players going out there and reinforcing the ideas, it's like dope. After they beat the 49ers, we talked about Kerby Joseph and who he was when they had the team picking up the little flags that had the logos of their opponents and how he acted when he saw the Rams won, how he acted when he saw the 49ers won. And after they beat the 49ers, what did he do? He switched his profile picture to that. Like, I absolutely love the petty. And so when you're talking about this type of stuff, and we saw how it mattered to Amon-Ra, I know that the fans are going to say, it don't matter. They're just going to look at the Super Bowl. Yes, but they're looking at it all. Remember, I told you this before. Yeah. They want everything that's supposed to be theirs. Why not care about what's supposed to be yours? Why not care about what you went out there and built up? And it's the way that they allow that to boost them more. They're not ones that get thrown off because someone's not doing or giving them something. Like a player who cries for a foul, but the play is still going on, and then they give up a layup because they're not getting back on defense. That's not our guys. Our guys are like, yo, you're not going to give me the foul? Well, I'm getting a block and I'm dunking next time. It's almost kind of the epitome of that Duran story I have from practice. It's like, okay, I got you guys next time. And that's what I've continued to see from this squad. They're not waiting for anyone to say sorry. They're not waiting around for the league's apology letters. You remember when we used to get those things? I remember on the flagship station, they used to read those off. It got to the point where on social media, we already knew. People, our first year on social media, we knew, okay, let's start preparing them. It was a couple games where we released what we thought they would say, and then the next day, here go the league releasing their apology letter to the Lions. We don't even care about that stuff anymore, man, because that's what this squad is. They go get it themselves.
Yeah, and what I teased before this is that I personally believe with the game that Kerby Joseph played against the San Francisco 49ers, which defensively, I would argue he won the Lions that game pretty much by himself. I think Kerby Joseph put himself right back in consideration for Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, leading at like everything says that Kerby, every single metric, whatever you want to say, has Kerby Joseph as the best safety in the NFL. Like you said, whether it's leading the NFL in interceptions, whether it's being the PFF #1 safety, whether it's the eye test, whether it's him seeing him flying all over around the field, making plays in the run, laying the wood, whether it's
pause,
which is absolutely pause. And another one that
I'm fuming over here right now.
Absolutely, I'm fuming too,
bro. I got something else, but finish, bro.
And the one thing that I've continued to harp on, and I harped on it a lot, especially when Kerby Joseph was before he had that stretch where he didn't have a pick in a few games, is that how many games can you look at this season with the Detroit Lions where you're like, They might not win that game if Kerby Joseph doesn't make the play. You look at the Rams game, getting that pick right before halftime to preserve a 10-3 halftime lead, a game in which the Lions would eventually win in overtime. You look at the Arizona Cardinal game. Remember, it was 20-10 at half. Kyler Murray throws it in the end zone for Marvin Harrison Jr. If Marv comes down with that, it's 20-17. But who comes down with it? It's Kerby freaking Joseph. What if the Packers-Lions game at Lambeau is 10-3 at the half instead of 17-3? Who made it 17-3? It was Kerby M. effing Joseph. He made the pick in the end zone against Seattle when Seattle was looking to maybe score a touchdown, get an onside kick, and score again. That seems unlikely.
We needed to beat them.
Absolutely. And that seems like an unlikely scenario, but we saw the Lions almost do it. We saw the Bears actually get an onside kick and end up tying a game that they would eventually lose. And then you look at the San Francisco 49ers game, which it wasn't the most consequential. It didn't matter much in the standings, but still, the defense was not playing well, especially in the first half. And then San Francisco came out in the second half and scored again. It was Kerby Joseph making those 2 interceptions that I believe was the biggest difference in a win and a loss. And when you put all of those games together, I mentioned 5 of them where Kerby, you could argue, had the biggest plays of the game. Imagine if Kerby doesn't do what he does. Imagine if it's somebody who's a lesser ball hawk.
Preach,
maybe the Lions lose a couple of those games. Maybe they don't get the 1 seed, but they didn't, and they will because of Kerby M. effing Joseph. And I'll tell you what, he might not win Defensive Player of the Year, but what if he gets a game-clinching interception at Ford Field against the Minnesota Vikings to give him 10 to give the Lions a 1 seed? You might have to give it to him at that point.
Listen, man, Mark Royal said Kerby isn't in the Pro Bowl because you bums didn't vote. I told y'all 2 weeks ago to vote. Everyone said they didn't care. Mark Royal, I know you're hurt. But on the contrary, Monfrere, Joseph finished first in fan voting at free safety ahead of 3 other NFC players: Xavier McKinney, the crybaby, Cameron Bynum, all these crybabies.
Cameron Bynum.
All of these crybabies.
Yeah.
The fans got it right. The fans.
Cameron Bynum. He's not a bad player, but oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's no words.
Jared Goff and Jahmyr Gibbs were also in the top 5 of overall fan voting as well. The fans showed out. They showed out. Detroit showed out. Whatever they had, because it had to even be more than just Detroit for them to show up that big. They're making and leaving an impression. Whatever some of the national narrative is that's talking against the Detroit Lions, to me, that's what's showing up right now. Who on the other side of this, we got to figure out who's leaving Kerby Joseph off. If the fans said we want him in the game, who's leaving him off? Like, that type of stuff matters to me. It just does. I remember when we won the championship in 2004. Even after the championship, we all flipped on with the Pistons, we all flipped on our TV. Those of us that are old enough that remember. And we were all with the Sports Center, and all that we saw all day long and for weeks, nothing about what the Pistons did, but everything that the Lakers didn't do. We talked about why this platform exists. And we see that these players, it does matter to them, man. It does. And so it's interesting, man, when you start to see this type of stuff. And to me, I'm going to continue. I just got this feeling inside that it's like, yo, continue to motivate these guys. We talked about the bulletin board material. We talked about these guys going up there and say, oh, yeah, we heard them talking. We see how Kerby Joseph takes this stuff. My man told me, I'm going to put hands on, and then stops your statement. Finish the statement.
Right.
Because my man showed up ready to handle business. I don't even remember who said it, dog.
Tucker Kraft.
Tucker Kraft, you're right. It was just like, and then they got out there on the field, and my man's out there like, it's like, yeah, bro. Now you out here looking like David Montgomery when Jared Goff was going off. It's like, bro, just chill, because my man handles business. You want to see them get the accolades that they deserve, but ultimately, they use this stuff to just go and get more. And that's what I love about it. But just before this Vikings game,
they gonna end up skipping the Pro Bowl anyway, because we'll be playing in the Super Bowl.
Hey,
like the Pro Bowl is an absolute effing joke, and I'm gonna get into more of that in a little bit. But while Kerby Joseph isn't technically the best player on the Lions defense, he is the spine, aka the backbone of this defense. And like Sam astutely pointed out, he is responsible for a lot of wins on this Lions schedule, just flat out. And a lot of his interceptions came in the red zone. He's directly taking points off the board. And if 77 total tackles, 9 interceptions, one of them being a pick 6, and 12 passes defended don't say you the best safety in the NFL, I don't know what does. But I think that maybe he could have gotten snubbed, and this is just speculation. I don't know clearly, but Maybe it's because of, the dirty rumor around the league with Kerby Joseph. They tagged him with that narrative because he's had some hits where guys got injured, legal hits, by the way.
Matter to me, man.
And I think that maybe, that dirty narrative has gotten around the league, unfortunately. And that could be playing a factor into shit like this.
Oh, Kerby is going to eat.
Yeah.
It's
just more bulletin board. Like, we don't care about this shit. Like, at the end of the day, like I've said it before in my Kendrick voice, we deserve it all. And I know the Lions want to go out there. They want all the accolades they can get. But we done seen them snub Amon-Ra St. Brown. We done seen them snub other players on this team.
And then
like, this is nothing new.
And we did a show on it. And the chat was like, nah, they don't care about that. And then later that day, brother sent in the video, and Amon-Ra was like, "I'm effing pissed."
Right?
He was like, he was trying to get his tie together. Like, I feel like I remember this like yesterday. And he was like, "I'm freaking pissed, man." Like, and that to me, it matters. It matters. Like, it's a pulse. It's more than a pulse. They want it all. That's why it matters to me. I like to see our guys get their due, and if they don't, I like to know that they're pissed about that. I do. Whatever's supposed to be mine is supposed to be mine. I don't even want a person stealing a Liquor Queen Kool-aid. I don't even want it. All of it's mine. And so when I see guys like Amon-Ra literally break that fifth wall and let us know, hey guys, the things that you think we don't care about, no, we care about. Everything's bulletin board material. I'm supposed to get my accolades. I'm supposed to look back at the end of my career and know I got these Pro Bowls. I got these All Pros. I'm supposed to get that Pro Bowl check too in my pocket.
Yeah, I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that type of stuff, it just matters. So I'm glad that it at least matters to those people, man.
Well, and I feel like with this Kerby Joseph snubbing, that I don't know if I ever feel comfortable again ever referring to a player, like if I'm talking about a player being good, as a 4-time Pro Bowler. Like, you hear that all the time.
Like,
it's a joke.
It's a joke at this point. They don't even play a game. It's a flag fucking football game. They need to just make it like the all NBA at this point. It's just a nod here. You are a Pro Bowl player. But in terms of actually like voting and putting people in the game, who cares, bro? Because it's a joke now. Like, the players, they care
it's
to
a popularity
point,
contest.
but
he won that though.
Yeah,
that's what makes
they care
it
to
very
a point,
weird.
But
that's why I agree with you, KG. That's why I'm just wondering, like, what happened? What is the narrative now? Because the popularity contest is why I believed he wasn't going to make it. And then we look, and the popularity contest says, no, a bunch of Lions got voted by the fans. A bunch of them. That's why I said, shout out to you, Detroit. That's why whenever the ballots or whatever that type of stuff out, I'm very, very curious to see exactly how that thing went down to kind of keep Kerby Joseph out of this game.
Yeah.
So.
The only thing that can make it right, at least for me, is just make him a first-team All-Pro. If they make Kerby Joseph a first-team All-Pro, then the Pro Bowl stuff, you can forget about it. It doesn't really matter because that's the ultimate. That is the ultimate sign of you being one of the transcendent great players, is the amount of All Pros you make. And Kerby Joseph, he certainly deserves it.
But for right now, Kerb, they disrespecting you, bro.
Oh, of course.
Kerb,
Of course.
man, you got to let them know on Sunday, bro. Take it personal.
That they are disrespecting him, but I'm going to take it back a little bit because I don't think Kerby really cares about this. If anything, he's going to use this as fuel to boost him through the rest of this season and to next season. This is going to be like his Amon-Ra type of slant that, remembering all the names that got drafted before him. Well, you know what? I'm going to remember all these names that you guys put above me to get to the Pro Bowl. And you know what? I'm going to show you guys the rest of this season and next season why I should have been first on this list right here. But overall, I don't think he cares about it because, as KG, you said, it's the Pro Bowl. None of these players really care. They're just going out there as a fun trip. This is a last task for them for their NFL season until they move on to next season. So I don't think they really care. And honestly, the Pro Bowl has gone down for the years, man.
I get the check portion of it, but players ain't took pride in the Pro Bowl in like 20 plus years, man. Bro. Like, who cares, bro?
I think it is different though when it's the other half of the bracket that voted you out.
Right,
when it's your peers, when it's coaches, when it's media, what's the other half of the bracket? It's fan voting, and then who else votes? Because I do believe that matters. And if you don't, you would take that person. I hope he does. Kerby, take that very personal.
Well, and as I've continued to say, you guys are right in theory, or KG, you're right in theory. The thing is, and this is where this might be a little bit controversial, but I stand on it. And both of these guys should have made it, if Brian Branch would have been snubbed, I would have actually been able to stomach that a little bit easier than Kerby Joseph. And that's nothing against Brian Branch. Branch is phenomenal. They both deserve to be Pro Bowlers. But Kerby Joseph, we're talking about leading the whole bleeping NFL in interceptions. He could end up finishing the season with 10. He could end up having what he's done so far, and then maybe sealing a game, maybe being the difference between a 1 seed and a 5 seed. I wouldn't put it past Kerby. He's done it all season long. Kerby Joseph is one of the... I can't think of a Lions snub worse than that in recent memory. Kerby Joseph is the best safety in the NFL. That's why it's never going to be made right with me unless they award him first team All-Pro, which matters more. But hey, if they're going to snub him from the Pro Bowl, are they going to snub him from All-Pro too? Or are they going to put
They better not.
Xavier McKinney there or Kyle Hamilton there or somebody like that?
Like, that's a real All-Pro is a real snub. He has to be an All-Pro.
But that's the thing, because
he has to be.
Maybe
All-Pro selected how? By the same people who left them off the Pro Bowl list?
Yeah.
Well,
That's why I said that portion. I'm not fired up, because if this was a popularity contest, then I would be like, KG, put up the middle fingers to the rest of the people out there, like just everybody outside of Detroit. That ain't what happened. These are the same supposed group of people that are going to have a part to do in All-Pro considerations, or no? Because that to me is what that's
true,
why I
but
was a little bit hot. I'm like,
stats can't be ignored, man. And more in terms of All-Pro, it's the stats that really dictate whether you're an All-Pro or not. And the numbers are there. So whatever fucking narrative y'all got around Kerby Joseph, unfairly, by the way, all the hits were clean, legal. He's not a dirty player. But I think that narrative does play a part in terms of Pro Bowl selection.
All-Pro is sports writers, man.
Yeah, so it's like, come on.
It's all right. He will get his All-Pro.
He will.
Who
else you putting over him?
I mean,
Xavier McKinney's had a better season.
I'm thinking maybe Kyle Hamilton.
I guess
he's a damn good player, but this season I wouldn't put him over Kerby Joseph. If we're talking about all-encompassing, you can argue Kyle Hamilton. But this season, with all of the interceptions Kerby Joseph had, I think I would still be upset. It should be Kerby Joseph first team and then Kyle Hamilton second team. Or they should go.